I'm not gonna lie, this lens has really surprised me. Very good quality for a lens this cheap. I have tried a lot of budget-friendly lenses over the years, and a lot of them were really okay, but never anything to shout about. Things are changing. There's new wave of cheap lenses coming out now that are better than average, more usable, and lenses delivering quality on par what used to be middle class. This is one of them. This is 7Artisans 85mm f1.8 AF full-frame autofocusing lens. It's been available for Sony E and Nikon Z mounts for a while now, but I have this new L-mount version here. For L-mount camera users, this is a very good news, as this is another budget-friendly brand that enters into L-mount alliance. All the photos and videos shot with it in this video were shot using this Lumix S5II and Lumix S5IIx cameras. So even though optically it is the same lens as the Sony and Nikon versions, I am testing it on Lumix cameras here. Quick one, if you'd like to support me and this channel, please hit like and subscribe buttons. It means a lot to me, more than you think. Also, if you like the look of my photos you see in this video, you can purchase my Lightroom presets in the link in the description below this video. I had really mixed feelings about the 50mm lens, which I have reviewed about a year ago. It had a lot of little issues, and it definitely missed the wow factor. I kind of expected the same from this, but because it is very low for 85mm prime price, I wanted to give it a go. First handful of photos, and I was really surprised. This is not what I was expecting at all. Firstly is the sharpness. This is something that always have been an issue with the bottom of the range lenses. Even in more expensive ones, the sharpness is something that often I have to bump up a little bit. Here, no problem with it at all. The lens not only autofocuses very well, okay, the sharpness is on par with many premium lenses. Combine that with beautiful, slightly swirly bokeh, and you get a very desirable, this 85mm lens here. I don't think that edge-to-edge sharpness wide open really matters on a lens like this, but in this case, it is more than good enough. It uses stepping motor for autofocusing, or the standard with lenses in this price range. It is okay for everyday usage like portrait, street photography, or close-ups. For anything more demanding like sports, events, or fast-moving wildlife, this might not be it. It might struggle or not be 100% reliable. Don't get me wrong, it is above average for sure, but it's not as good as linear focusing systems of the premium lenses. Generally speaking, it works if you don't push it too hard or don't expect from it too much. Saying that, the price makes it almost all irrelevant here, but about that in just a moment. I found this lens very enjoyable to use, easy to use. Very surprising is how little of chromatic aberration there is visible. Chromatic aberration, the color fringing, is very common with wide aperture primes, even the pro ones. Here, I'm struggling to see any. Very unusual. Also flaring when you shoot towards bright light sources, it is very well under control here. No crazy unpredictable behaviors most of the time. 85mm is a perfect focal length for portrait photography. It creates nice compression. This is where the background seems closer to your subject than it really is, and really good subject to background separation. Minimum focusing distance is standard for this kind of lens, 80 centimeters. Very good for capturing very good looking close-ups. Overall, a pretty good lens choice for everyday usage, for everything. Video, this is where 7Artisans 50mm completely failed me. This works pretty well for the lens in this class. There's no major issues. It might be slightly sluggish now and then or not latching on properly on occasion, but all of that can be easily rectified if you had no other lens. If you had no other lens than this, by manual focusing. It's not totally silent autofocusing, faint buzzing coming out of the lens when the autofocus motor is working. Not a deal breaker, but something to bear in mind. Literally zero focus breathing. This is very rare with any lens, even an expensive one. I don't know how they've done it with a lens this cheap, but it is one less thing to worry about when filming with it. The video shot with it looks as crisp as the photos, and that superb subject to background separation makes it easier to chase that elusive cinematic look with it. before I talk about the build quality and who is this lens for, let's talk about the price. I think this is the cheapest 85mm you can buy. Certainly the cheapest 85mm that is good and for L mount. Right now it costs £250 here in UK or $269 in US. $269 for wide aperture 85mm lens. Its closest competition is the Maker 85mm, not as good as this, and it is more expensive. Then you have Lumix own 85mm f1.8, amazing lens, but it is also much more expensive. This ticks a lot of boxes and it does not break the bank. The very little niggles it has are justifiable and forgivable considering how little it costs. If you want or need anything better or more perfect, more reliable, you should go for Sigma 85mm f1.4 art, but be prepared to pay more than 3 times more than this costs. It is built well, it feels solid, metal and plastic construction. The copy I have has got very stiff focus and aperture rings. Usable, but they move the lens in the mount slightly when turned, but bear in mind that this could be just this copy. No clicks on manual aperture ring, standard AF/MF switch. This was very flimsy on the 50mm. This one has got nice click when switched, and it does not switch by itself like it did on the 50mm lens. 62mm filter thread, function button. This can be programmed to do whatever you want or need via the camera. There is a USB socket at the mount for connecting it to the computer for installing future firmware updates. No stabilization or weather sealing, as expected with a lens this cheap. Not feather light, but okay weight for 85mm prime. It weighs 438 grams. Who is it for? This is a perfect lens for someone who wants to try their first prime, especially for portrait photography. The price makes it very affordable, very accessible, and easily a spur of the moment purchase. It does deliver very good quality images and video, and that makes it a really good lens choice for someone who needs a second or third lens in a kit to fill that focal length gap when you spend all your hard-earned cash on pro lenses already. Maybe not a lens for seasoned wedding photographer, but more than good enough for everyday stuff when you have luxury of taking your time. I don't think any of my paying clients would ever notice the difference between this or Lumix own 85mm. Conclusion, I really like this lens. I was expecting to be fighting it, hating the results, justifying the lack of performance by the low price tag, but is the opposite. The lens is more than good enough for everyday usage. It delivers a really nice and punchy results. It is easy to use, and most importantly, it is very cheap. The days when 85mm portrait lens was a specialist tool only for professional photographers are long gone. This is a perfect example of a new era, and if the brands like 7Artisans continue making lenses as good as this, the big boys like Sigma or Lumix will have to come up with something spectacular to justify their prices. It's not a pro lens, but affordable 85mm that is very rewarding to shoot with. It offers character but without the challenge, and gives you ability to be creative with it and to enjoy the process. I do highly recommend it. If you are a full frame Lumix shooter, you should totally check this lens out. And this is it from me. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.